Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes. How lovely it was.
All right. Norman Carter,
Yes, sir.
how you doing?
Man, I could be doing better, but I'm alive.
And that you could be better than that though. With the pandemic and we losing a lot of our friends, man, and family, and so God, thank God we're alive. Okay.
Absolutely.
Um. All right. I've got to get rid of these phones. Make sure they're not going to be ringing during our interviews. Got to turn them off. Norman Carter, where do we start from? How about was that Connecticut?
Yes, I left Connecticut in March of 1975 and came to Los Angeles.
Okay.
Um, it was a very interesting period in my life because I was 25 years old and I was trying to see if I could make some kind of progress, and I felt I'd come to California. So I jumped on a Greyhound bus, and about 3 days later, I touched down in Los Angeles.
Uh huh. And what'd you start doing then?
Well, I live not too far away from Motown. And so periodically I would go up there and just kind of stand outside to see who I could see that was coming in and going out. But they had a back entrance that I wasn't even aware of. So I was standing out there sometime and nobody came by. But that only lasted for a minute. And I started going around to the clubs. At that time, they had a club on Crenshaw called the Total Experience and another one called Maverick Flat.
Okay.
So I would go down there and, they had showcases. And so I would kind of look around and see what was going on. I didn't really make a lot of progress in my first few months. And I decided that, you know what, I better go get a job because when you come to California, you don't have a job, the little money you got is going to be gone in no time.
So
So
true. Yes.
I went on and I got a job. And, I kind of messed around with a few guys, was trying to put groups together, but nothing really got off the ground, to be honest with you. And as it turned out, I decided that I'm going to just keep a job and then kind of see what happened with singing. Well, to be quite honest, nothing happened. Okay. It took me about another 20 years because I walked away from singing completely. I met the Delfonics at the Total Experience in Los Angeles. Mr. William Hart, the guy that started the group, the guy that's the lead singer of the group, and we became friends. And one day, he called me because I had started doing I started singing with Major Harris, who was a member of the Delfonics until he left and had his big hit "Love Won't Let Me Wait."
Right.
So we were doing a Delfonics type show, and he heard about it, and he said, "Hey man, I heard that you singing, with the Delfonics or with Major Harris, So he said, "Listen, I want to talk to you, man, because I think I might have a job for you." And as it turned out, he hired me, and he said, "Who do you want?" And that's what I like, Major Harris. So it was me, Major Harris, and a guy named Pat Palmer. And so that's how my tenure with the Delfonics started, which was 25 years ago.
Wow. I want to stop you there because I want to take you back when you grew up. I know you lived in Connecticut, right?
Yes, Norwalk, Connecticut.
Northwalk, and you were telling me that was pretty close to the Apollo.
Well, yeah, I mean, as teenagers, we all would catch the train in Norwalk and get off at 125th Street and either walk all the way down to the Apollo Theater because it was a lot of fun back in the 60s. You had the clothing store. I mean, everything was exciting. So
Right.
normally we would just walk all the way down there. We'd go to the Apollo Theater.
Tell me about the acts you used to see there.
Well, I started going to the Apollo Theater about 1965. And at that time, all the acts that became stars, they were young men,
Right.
they were like in their early 20s. I saw Billy Stewart, who at that time had Sitting in the Park and I Do Love You.
Right.
And I always liked Billy Stewart. I just liked the melodic sound of his songs.
Right.
So, to make a long story short, it would be hard for me to say how many people that I've seen, but I can tell you, I saw the Motown Review, and that was the Marvelettes. That was Martha and Vandellas. That's
Right. Right.
Temptation. That's Smokey Robinson. That's Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
That's the Contours. So that to me was the greatest show I'd ever seen in my life. That show was just packed with people
Right.
who currently were stars and those who were on their way to becoming stars.
Right.
Saw the Delfonics. Saw them when
That's
they
what I was. That's what I was getting at. You
Oh,
sitting
man.
there watching Wilbur and William.
and Randy Kane. You know,
Right.
William, Wilbur, and Randy Kane, because that's the
Right.
original trio.
Right.
And they had such a unique style, the slow movement. They call them the king of the slow jams. La La, Break Your Promise, Somebody Loves You Girl, Didn't I? Hey Love. I mean, everything was just slow.
Right.
I never thought back then that I would ever have the opportunity to meet the Delfonics, much less sing with the Delfonics.
Yes.
Because at that time, the group that I would have loved to have been a part of would have been the Mighty Temptations, because my voice was very similar to Eddie Kendricks, and he was my mentor. You know,
That's right.
The Apollo Theater was one of the most exciting period of my life, because every time an artist would have a hit record, and they came to New York, R&B, they went to the Apollo Theater. So with the Delfonics, I found a niche. I knew all their songs. I knew that I could sing them and sing them very well. However, I didn't sound like William Hart. I sounded like Eddie Kendricks. And I was told that, look, if you don't sound like William, but you sound like Eddie Kendricks, that's not bad. You know what I'm saying? That's because Eddie was, the man,
Right.
It's been the most enjoyable 25 years of my life being with the Delfonics, because I've had the opportunity to perform with, oh my goodness, Gene Chandler, Barbara Mason, the Intruders. I mean, I could go on for about an hour and I wouldn't even name all the people, because remember, from the year I started, every year I was on the Art LeBeau Valentine's Day Love Affair concerts.
Yes.
And that was loaded, okay, with people.
Yeah.
So it was just, to meet Al Wilson, which was a guy that I always liked. We were in San Jose. You were there when we was in San Jose, and I met Al Wilson, and that was, and then we had the Impressions, and we always had Barbara Mason. She was always on the show.
Right. Yeah.
And they would have people like Evelyn King, Denise Williams. So it was just, the thing about it is this, and this is really strange. I didn't get a chance to sing with the Delfonics till I was 48 years old.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because like I said, I had given up on singing and said, let me go get a job because I got this new baby, who's now, he's like 43, 44, whatever he is,
Right.
But, and then I had a chance to meet guys like you, and George. What's George's last name again?
Livingston Entertainment.
George Livingston, right. And then a good friend of ours, the late Elmer Hopper from the Platters.
Right. That's who introduced us.
Yes. I think that's how I met you. I think that's how I met you. Yeah, right.
Right. I was on my way to the 70, I'm not the 70 Soul Jam, I mean the Valentine's
Love Affair. Valentine's
Love Affair at San Jose. I was there. In fact, I was there with at the time Brentwood's manager. I won't mention his name, but I was taking him to the show. I had tickets, and I didn't have backstage pass that night. But Elmer told me my partner's singing there tonight. Well, I had a bunch of friends on that show.
Right.
First night I met you.
I remember now when we met. I
called you. You came all the way up to bring me my backstage passes, brother.
I totally forgot.
You forgot that.
And then we took pictures, okay? And years later, I didn't even remember that was you in the picture, because I believe I gave you one of the pictures.
No, I never got them from you, but I'll tell you, if you got them, I got to get them. But you know, I ran into so many cats that I knew at that show that it's like a reunion, you know.
Right, right.
And ever since then, I've been going because I managed Frank Irvin of the Shields. And he did 3 of his last shows before he passed for Alan Beck and Art LeBeau. We did one in San Diego, Bakersfield, and the other one I always forget in downtown. Oh, it's downtown somewhere in LA area.
Right.
I always forget, man. Donnie Brooks lived in that city. I always forget it, but anyway, and so I got tickets, you know, backstage pass and tickets from then on from Alan Beck, and I thank him for it today. But that's when we had met, and we've been in touch. We worked together. You come out of San Francisco the last time and did the show at the restaurant for me, and appreciate that. And we stay in touch. And so let me see. And then met with Jack Bart. You want to tell us about that?
Well, you know, when I joined the Delfonics, I think it was in '96. Obviously, I had seen Jack Bart because he's the one that run the '70s Soul Jam tour.
Right.
However, I'm a new kid on the block, and so I didn't want to step out of line, so I never really said much to him. But I would always, you know, whenever they would come to LA, I would always, you know, I had a number where I could call him and get some backstage pass or whatever. So I think it was last year. Was it last year? Yeah, we did that show up in San Jose.
2 years ago.
With Jack Bart. With Jack
Yeah,
Bart.
it's about 2 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, well, prior to that show, I had a chance to talk to Jack, and, you know, and he said, hey, man, you know, I got a show for you guys up in San Jose. And so that's when I really got to know him. Right. And after that, you know, he put me on the '70s Soul Jam tour for like 3 shows. And we met at William Hart's house last year to sit down, and he spoke on behalf of me and trying to let William know we got to give this guy more work because he's really a good representation for the group. So I signed a contract with William Hart for 5 years with a 5-year extension. And so from that point on, I've had a lot of communication with Jack Bart.
Right.
As a matter of fact, he told me about 2 weeks ago that they have 3 shows for us, but it won't be until June.
Right.
So he said, whatever I can do for you when we come back, I'm going to make sure that I get you out there because you need to be working way more than you have been working since you've been with the group.
Right.
And as you well know, I use the group to establish my own solo career.
Right.
Because I wasn't going to sit back when the group is not working and not do anything. You know, I knew that I could sing, and I knew that I sang well enough that people would pay to come and see me. So it started off with me doing a show at Brentwood. What's that lady's name in LA from Motown? Brenda.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you. That's Brenda Holloway.
Right.
Every little bit hurts.
Right. And what are you going to do when I'm gone? I did a show. Somebody introduced me to Brenda Holloway and told him to say, this guy sounds just like Eddie Kendricks. So she invited me over to her place, and I sang a song or 2 for her. And she said, listen, we're going to be rehearsing. We're doing a show with Brenton Wood.
Brenton Wood, yeah.
So that was my first time going out on my own as a solo act. And it was I remember it was in San Diego, a place called the 4th and B Club. And after that show, a guy by the name of Michael Gonzalez in Oxnard, they call him Second Chance.
Second Chance, yes.
He saw me outside after the show, and he said, I want to talk to you. And he said, listen, man, he said, I want you to meet my pastor because I would love for him to, book you. And that's when it took off. I was working all over the country with the what's the name of the church again? Oh my God.
Victory Outreach.
Victory Outreach Church,
right.
So that took me off, man. And I just, that's how I established my solo career.
Yeah.
And my fan base, which happens to basically be mostly Latinos.
Right.
Because I don't think anybody embraced that classic R&B old school any more than they do.
Right.
So I've had a good run, you know, as a solo artist. And whenever I'm called upon to do the Delfonic, then I'm there, you know.
Right. Right. Yeah, we had this show out in Santa Clara at the Avalon, and with Brentwood, Brenda Holloway. I think I emceed that show. We did one in Salinas. Remember that one?
Absolutely.
With Bobby Antonelli.
That's when
Now
the girls always the
oh,
girls
we
always
want to talk about
chasing him.
that.
The girls was chasing him. I don't know if they was chasing him to beat him up or if they were chasing him trying to make love to him.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, we had quite a few. Then we did the show out in Watsonville. I emceed that outside in the park. It was at Pinto Lake County Park. We had a great. That was a beautiful show, and yeah, Brentwood was on that show, and it was a great show.
You know
Um,
what amazed me about you, man, is the people that you were affiliated with way before I met you. Uh, Being with the Queen of Motown, you know, Mary
Very
Wells.
well, yeah.
A lot of people who might not know about your history. You have a book with pictures with almost everybody, man. I was like, whoa,
Yeah.
this guy right here been around, you know. And I've always said that, you know, I wish somebody out there who could really work with you and finance you, because you would do a hell of an old school reunion tour. I could just see that, you know. You know the acts to pick. And you know, somebody out there needs to give this guy a break, man, because he fits that bill. He fits that bill.
Thank you,
He
brother.
knows how to MC. He knows how to dress, you know.
Love you, man.
Let's hope there's something happen for both of us next year, bro.
Yeah, well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Got a little money now to do it, and got people that want to work with me, and it's going to happen. Um, let's get back to Elmer. You know, he passed. All the people that majority of those people that I work with, they passed. Man, we lost them. You know.
Well, you know, to this day, man, I'm still in shock because the day that Elmer died, I was singing in Oklahoma. The same day that he was singing here in LA. It
Right.
was Cinco de Mayo, if you remember. It was
Yes,
Cinco de Mayo.
I remember. Yeah.
When I heard that he had died, man, it's almost like there's some people that you know that you just can't imagine that they would die. At least
Right.
not before you die. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
I
We,
called his number a couple times after he had passed, man. It's like I didn't remember that he had died, you know?
yeah.
I mean, you know, very nice guy, very special kind of guy,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, we attended his funeral together,
Yeah, I remember. Yeah,
and
yeah.
but before that, the last time that I seen Elmer, he was with John Mills.
Well, that's who he was
That was,
singing with. Yeah,
yeah,
the son of him.
son of John Mills, and
Yes.
they were singing together. He was with the Platters since he was 19 years old, with Paul Robbie's Platters, and
Yeah.
he told me he was going to do a book and all this that, and I
You
was
know what? What's really sad is that he had everything in place and he was getting ready to do these things that you're talking about. He
exactly
had gotten his yacht or his boat, whatever, and it was down there by Marina Del Rey, you know, and all this stuff. It's so sad because the timing couldn't have been worse. He had
right,
gotten a lot of the things together that he had been trying to get together and was getting ready to do those things.
right.
And as I'm timely passing, you know, we will forever remember him, and that's all we can do is keep him in our memory.
That's right. And I had a lot of memories. I stayed at his house many, many times. Every time we'd go on tour, be together, whatever, he would
Oh,
he'd hit the record store. I didn't hear.
yeah, I had to stop that call. Somebody was calling me.
Oh, good, yeah. So I mean, we had so many great memories. You know, I've been to so many shows with them. You know, Martha, Paul Robbie's wife, she had invited me to a couple of shows in California, one in Fresno and one in Bakersfield. So she said, Bobby, you could come to either one. I said, well, I'm not going to go to the Fresno one. I'll go to Bakersfield because my brother lived there and I wanted to take him. And I didn't go to Fresno. So that was a Friday night. The Saturday night, I was going to go to Bakersfield. I call him up and, he said, "You still coming?" And yeah, he goes, "Oh, I heard that show was canceled." I was
Oh,
so angry, man. I I checked out, it was canceled. And you know who was on that show with them was Ricky Nelson.
oh yeah.
Okay, you snooze, you lose. Elvis Presley had told me one time, "It's now or never," and I should have went to Fresno. I didn't go, and I couldn't go to Bakersfield because it was canceled.
Cancel, yeah.
No more Ricky Nelson after that.
That was
The
my boy,
plane
man.
crash, and you know what I mean.
Yeah, I like Ricky. Yeah.
Oh, and Fats Domino was on that show also.
Okay.
You see what I mean, brother? You've got to take the opportunity
You missed
when
the
it
big
comes
league.
along, and that's why I'm saying, Norman, we got to do this interview. And I'm trying to get to do an interview with George Livingston, because I might not be here tomorrow, brother.
Right, you're right.
So,
You're right. Yeah, yeah.
so I'm happy we're doing this right now. So you're out in Hollywood.
Yes, I've been in Hollywood ever since I came to LA in 1975. I've only lived in one spot, and that's right here in Hollywood.
Yeah. You got a neighbor there, Pacquiao's manager,
Who's manager?
Pacquiao,
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Mr. Roach, Freddie
Freddie Roach.
Roach.
Freddie Roach, right up the street from where I live.
Yeah, well, when I go out and visit you, I go out and visit him.
Okay.
In fact, I visit him more than I visit you, but
It's okay,
we're going to talk about that on our next interview.
Right, right.
Because I know what you did when you wasn't singing.
Well, yeah, I had a little cable show called The Boxing Scene.
Yeah, that's right.
A lot of people on that show.
That's on our part 2 Norman Carter interview.
Yes, sir.
So we'll get back to music. Let's see what we didn't cover here. Well, we covered quite a bit, but I want to, you sing, man. You did the Delfonics, and you do a wonderful job. You do the Delfonics, you do a wonderful job. But you did the Eddie Kendrick Experience, man. You sound just like the brother, man.
Remember that? That was before the
Oh, man, I do. I got a problem with that, though. The CD that I have, the promo, it's blank. I don't know what happened. But anyway, I got to get another one of those. But you gonna give us a little sample, man, of something you do in that as Eddie Kendrick or Delphonic, real quick, just a little sample.
I can do like say a verse of
Just a sample.
Delphonics number
Okay.
one, first one. Many guys have come to you with a line that wasn't true, and you passed them by.
Pass them by.
They're in the center ring, and their lines don't mean a thing. Why don't you let me try?
There you go, brother. I'm going to stop you there because I'm going to tell you what I want you to do now. See,
Yeah.
Norman, I don't think many people out there that see you do the Delphonics, exception with the people that call you for these private weddings, private parties, and the people with the Victory Outreach, they've ever heard you do these girl songs.
Oh my goodness!
I mean, Dusty Springfield, all these other ladies, man, Mary Wells and all these, man, brother, that's such a treat. I mean, I just blew my mind when I heard you doing some of those. Can we get a little sample of one of those?
Okay, let me see what I should do now.
Because you have a whole lot of them, and when we do our shows after this crap is over.
Here's the thing about those songs, okay? These songs, even though they're female, they're in the same key that I sing in the falsetto voice.
Right.
It doesn't present a challenge or anything because
No.
I don't sound like the women, but I'm singing in the same key. So
Yes.
I'm able to do the songs. Now let me think which one I want to do. When I said I needed you, You said you would always stay. It wasn't me who changed, but you. And now you're gone away. Can't you see that now you're gone? And I'm left here on my own. That I have to follow you and beg you to come home. You don't have to say you love me, just be close at hand. You don't have to stay forever, I will understand. Believe me, I can't help but love you. But believe me, I'll never tie you down. Miss Dusty Springfield.
Beautiful. That's what I was going to say. My good friend here, Norman Carter. Love it, brother. Give me a little YouTube. Let's get a little music. Get out of here. We're going to let you go now, man. I want to thank you for this interview. Norman, we're going to let you, we're going to come back with part 2. We're going to do the boxing interview.
Sounds good, brother.
Ladies and gentlemen, you can book this gentleman. Just give me a call. And we're going to book Norman. We got to bring him out to your town. He does private parties. Your wedding, how would you like to be doing your first dance with Norman singing it to you? Wouldn't that be beautiful?
And I'll be singing for their wedding inseparable.
That's what I'm saying.
As a matter of fact, I'm performing Christmas. I do all these backyard events. Christmas, I'm going to be in Hemet.
Yeah. So you're inviting all of us to that wedding. All you wedding crashers, are you paying attention? You better not give that address, Norman.
I have my own equipment also. So this way you don't have to provide anything. I bring all my own equipment.
We know that. Anyway, my good friend Norman Carter. Norman, it's a pleasure. We'll be doing part 2, and we'll be doing the boxing show. You've interviewed everybody on your show, not only the boxers, the promoters, the Don Kings.
You know what? I interviewed guys who became legends before they became legends.
Oh, I know that.
We're talking
De La
about
Hoyas.
And also Sugar Shane Mosley.
Right.
And also Raphael and Gabriel Ruelas.
I know that.
If you remember those brothers.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'm a member of the Northern California Veteran Boxing Association. I'm a lifetime member. And I talked to them about you coming up for our one of our luncheons. And we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Norman Carter. Thank you, my brother.
It's been a pleasure, and I wish all of you a happy and safe Christmas and New Year's, and we'll see each other next year.
Thank you very much, Mr. Norman Carter. Everybody, I'm going to sign off. Bobby Gold Star Production, brought to you by Casa Sanchez. Love you, brother. Peace out, man.
Right back at you.
All right. Talk to you later, man.
Take care.
Be safe always. Happy New Year and Merry Christmas and all that good stuff.
Same.
Peace out.
Thanks for the memory of rainy afternoons, swingy Harlem tunes, motor trips and burning lips and burning toast and prunes.
How lovely it was. Thanks for the memory of candlelight and wine.